Hey, I'm Theo, and thank you for joining me. Today I wanted to talk about ladder and how to climb on the ladder. So I wanted to give you some tips that can hopefully help you climb. I'll be mostly looking at the diamond to legend bracket because I think that's where most people struggle. But most of these tips you can use at pretty much any rank. So let's get started. Let's start with some tips you can use before the game. First of all, I'll just expect it's gonna take some time to climb. It's really more of a long-term thing, and it's not gonna be over in a day. For example, if you want to be climbing from Diamond 5 to Legend, it's gonna take 15 stars, so that's 15 more wins than losses. What it means is that, for example, if you have a 60% win rate, which is pretty good, right? It's gonna take about 75 games to climb. So yeah, that's for 60% win rate. So yeah, just expect it to take a lot of games to climb, and yeah, it won't be over quickly. And then the next tip is, well, just expect you're going to lose a games. And you're going to lose lots of games. Like I said before, right? The 75 games you need, well, that is also includes 30 losses. So yeah, you're going to lose a lot of games. That's just part of the game. It's a card game, which means you're going to lose a big portion of your games. And that's just going to happen. There's not much you can do about it. And then the third tip I want to give before the game is, well, what you always want to do when playing is focus on improving. In the long run, well, if you get better, you're just gonna win more. And that's the main way to climb, is just win more. So always try to get better at the game and just focus on improving. And next up is play the meta. That means is don't just play any homebrew decks or just a deck you saw somewhere that looks fun. Just play established tier 1 or tier 2 deck. They're there for a reason, and they can generally help you best with climbing. And just pick any good deck. What I usually do is just try to go to the website. I prefer Vicious Syndicate, but they only post once a week. So you can also look at other websites like HS Replay or Donkey's website to find the best decks, the best builds, and just take one from there. And the next one is also kind of related to this. Well, don't play tech. I'll just add tech cards to the decks. Just stick with those meta decks. They're a meta deck for a reason. They already thought about including tech cards, but generally it's just a bad idea to include tech cards. They might help in one matchup, then they don't help in like 5 matchups, and that's just not really worth including card 4. So generally don't try to add tech to decks. It's really rarely worth it. And then next, let's see what you can do during the game. First of all, well, just take your time. Coach a bunch of people, and what I often see is people just play way too fast. They see a play, and they just go for it without really thinking it through. So yeah, what you want to be doing is just take your time during the turn. Maybe you see a play, but then think about it. Like, what else do you want to do besides that play? Do you have mana left, or is there another play that's maybe better? So always take your time, think about it, and especially don't autopilot. Don't just think a play is good because it was good the previous few games. Always consider, is it this game the best play? And just don't autopilot. And then second, we have, well, just focus on your game. Like, yeah, you want to be thinking about what your opponent's deck can be doing with like big board clears and stuff. But generally, just try to look at your own game plan, at your own deck, what you can do, and try to focus on that, improve on that. It's a lot easier. It's only one deck you have to focus on, instead of like 10 plus decks that your opponent might be playing. And just look at what you can do better, and don't focus too much on the opponent's game. And next, it's tempo, yeah. Basically, use your mana. Often see is that people just try to go for perfect combos, try to go for too much value, but more often than not, it's just better to spend your mana and get ahead on board and play with the cards that you have in your hands and not the cards that you may be drawing. So for example, on Highlander Warrior that I've played a lot, don't just save all your battle cries for after Bren, but you can easily just use them because they're still pretty good by themselves. And you might never draw the Bren during the game. And then the fourth tip I want to give here is, well, play to win. Often what I see is that people try to survive. And yeah, you gotta survive to win, but if you make a play where, yeah, maybe you stay alive for 5 turns, or there's no way to win then because you threw away all your win cons, then yeah, that is not a good play. So play to win, so maybe make a play that is very unlikely to win, but if the alternative is that you never win, then yeah, you might have to go for that risky play that wins maybe 1 in 10 times because it's just your best out. And the last one I'll give is that, well, variance happens. bad RNG outcomes happen, but don't let that influence you too much. Like maybe your previous game, one random card helped the opponent actually. Just forget that happened. Just think about what the card usually does, what it on average does, and then play it that way. Don't let a previous game influence how you play with a card. Like, for example, Prison of Yoxron, right? Maybe previous game it healed your opponent. Well, that happens, but it rarely happens. So don't think that during this game it's gonna heal your opponent. So just use the card in a way that's best during that game, and yeah, don't think about the previous games. And then what can you do after the game is, what I often do is during queue is try to think about the previous game and what happened. Were there any bad decisions you made that you can improve on? Were there any big decisions where, well, it lost you the game, but was it a correct decision that you made? Because of course, well, you can make the correct decision during the whole game and lose the game, or you can play awful and win the game. So think about that. Think about if a decision lost you the game, was it correct or not? And just try and improve on that. Put that into use into the next game. And again, well, bad games happen. Don't let that influence you too much. It just happens. Sometimes you thought you were going to win and then one unlucky outcome lost you the game. Yeah, it happens. You just got to move on. Just every game is different. And of course, no game has influence on other games. So yeah, bad games just happen. Just don't let them influence you too much. And then maybe related to that is, well, don't just swap decks. Like, yeah, maybe you queued a good deck, but you found 3 counter decks in the first 3 games. That doesn't mean you should be switching. Like, if you made a good decision before the game to pick a good deck, and that was a good decision, don't go away from it. Like, don't after a few games decide that this wasn't worth it. Sometimes you just get unlucky matchups, and sometimes it's the other way around. You just get a few good matchups in a row, and you feel really good about the choice. Just stick with the deck you chose that you want to play, that you felt comfortable with, and don't just swap after a few games. And also, well, sometimes you should probably be taking a break. Maybe if you played a lot of games, you can take a break, but also if you're getting tilted, just take a break. It's fine. Maybe play Battlegrounds or play another game or do something else. Just take a break. It'll help you, and yeah, you just don't want to get tilted and then play games while tilted, and you're just gonna lose more games that way, and that's not what you want to be doing. And then the last tip I want to give is, well, maybe during that break you can also watch streams or YouTube videos on the good players playing your deck, and then look at them and see what they're doing, see what you can improve, and just go through their thought process. Like, how are they approaching the matchup or the game? What do they value in that game? Or just what is their game plan in general? Just try to look at what they're doing, maybe even pause the turn and take a few minutes to look at it, think what you would be doing, and then what the player did, and see what's the difference and why, and try to get better that way. So yeah, that is it for all the tips, although I do want to give you one more. It's that just have fun while playing. In the end, that's why you play the game, and I think it's a lot easier to climb when you're having fun playing a deck that you want to be playing. So yeah, that's the last one I want to give. That's going to be it for today's video. Do you have any other tips that you want to maybe be giving other people that helped you? Or did you miss any? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and until next time.